You can find me on Ravelry or Instagram and Ravelry. I just changed my Ravelry name. So you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as ButterflyEM4. And this is just my quick catch up to let you know what I've been working on. It's a few days after the election, and so I thought we could use some sunshine. I'm wearing my Justin Timberlake shirt that freaks me out because I feel like it looks like he's looking at me. It looks like he's annoyed with me. But that was from my first like grown-up concert that wasn't a Christian concert, and it was so much fun, and I had to have a t-shirt, and this was all that was left. So you get to hang out with me and Justin today. So yeah, I decided I would update you on my knitting projects that I have going. I finished something pretty epic that I said last time that I would probably have done, and I waited until I was done to record again, but I finished the Hue Shift blanket. I don't know how much of this you can see all at once because it's pretty massive and pretty amazing. But I'll flip it over for you too so you can see the other side too. So this blanket had a lot of adventures in it. You can see a little bit of one right here. This was such a fun project to work on. And then here's the cool quadrant. So this blanket is a pattern that I got. You can get it from Knit Picks. I got it for free during they do like a 12 days of Christmas giveaway free pattern kind of thing, and that was how I got this pattern. So keep an eye out. They might be doing it again for free in the near future. The yarn that I use is Knit Picks Brava Sport. I said worsted last time. It's actually Sport. And I think I bought the same colors as listed in the pastel kit. Maybe not quite all the same. But my daughter, this is for my 9-year-old, and she wanted it to be in rainbow order, and the pattern calls for it to not be in rainbow order, but she wanted it in rainbow order. We call this her mermaid blanket. So we did it in rainbow order, and it was humongous. There are 100 squares to knit in this pattern. And then I did, I have the Dove Gray Brava Sport, and the pattern calls for you to pick up stitches all around the edge and then knit them in garter until you run out of yarn. And I did not feel like picking up that many stitches, so I just crocheted a border on it. So I did 3 rounds of double crochet, and then I got bored and said I am so done with this project. I wanted to thank a knitter. Let me find who it is real quick because I feel like I should have known this, but I wanted to thank a knitter because I actually ran out of yarn for 2 of the colors, which was pretty frustrating, I'm not going to lie, that I ran out of yarn. Okay, so it's Lalaith 35, Lalaith 35 on Instagram. So what I did with this pattern was I have knit this pattern before, and I omitted an entire row from each one of the squares because I ran out of yarn for all of the colors when I made my first one. And so this time I omitted 1 row to see if that would help me not run out of yarn. And it worked great for 8 of the 10 colors, but 2 of them I still ran out of yarn. And so I posted on Instagram, does anybody have this purple color and then this pink color? And Lale 35 messaged me and said yes, she could send me those colors of yarn. I made a mistake in that I asked for the wrong color pink, but she sent it to me, and I kind of was like, I don't care at this point, I just want it done. And it worked out great. And then she had some of the purple too. So all the other colors though I had plenty of. This blanket was a beast to work on, and I've knit 2 of them now during the pandemic. So that just tells you how much knitting I've been doing at night because I need to do it for my sanity. So yeah, so the Hue Shift blanket is done. I'll post pictures where you can see the whole thing all together on Instagram and on my Ravelry page too, if you want to see it. So that is done. Gosh, how big is it? I'm just curious. It's wider than my arm span by about 3 inches. So I can't even like stretch it. So this was super fun. This was an epic project, and I gave it to my daughter, and she was thrilled with it. She's so happy. And it was really fun to knit. I like these modular projects where I didn't have to do this much like rows and rows, because that would have taken forever and I feel like I would have gotten bored so fast. So I will say the pattern is really fun to knit. And this is my second one. And so I've knit 2 of them since March because they're just easy to pick up and I know exactly how long it takes me to knit a square. It takes a little bit under an hour to knit it with that extra row omitted. And so I just sat there and, okay, I'm going to watch a show. I'm going to do a square. I'm going to watch a show. I'm going to do a square. And just that kind of thing. It was a really good project for me right now. So that project is done. Gosh, look at that. It's so beautiful. I'm like, I still blow myself away. Like, it still blows me away how beautiful this ended up. So I'm excited about that. And then I have another finished project. I finished a pair of socks that turned out really lovely. So these socks are just vanilla socks that are cuffed down with a fish lips kiss heel. This is what I do for pretty much all of my socks right now. And the yarn, the main color is Hue Loco yarn in the colorway Yoga Mom. I got this from a sock set that was a limited time thing. So it's not available anymore, and it came with 1 mini skein. I had already knit a pair of socks with that mini skein and the main color yarn, and so I knit another one. So I use this dark blue. This is some Leading Men Fiber Arts BFL, and that is leftover yarn from my Modulancho project, which is a really wonderful pattern by Shayna Lyons Designs. And so, but I thought they looked nice together. So these are done, and these are for me. I've decided to try and keep 1 pair of socks on the needles that is indie dyed yarn and 1 pair of socks on the needles that is less expensive yarn because I still have so much indie dyed sock yarn. I want to be able to use it up, but I keep all of my indie dyed sock yarn socks because I know how to wash them, and even then I have felted them myself, but this yarn I know won't felt. I've washed this yarn many times in the washer and it'll be just fine. So yeah, so I keep all of my indie dyed yarn and then I knit the other one so I can give it away. So these are done. And as soon as I was done with that, I went ahead and cast on my next pair of socks that is not indie dyed yarn. And I'm really excited about this. This is a pair of Regia socks that is from the Arne and Carlos Pair-fect line. And so my brother-in-law, or my future brother-in-law, my sister's getting married next year. I adore her fiance. He is like, I want to keep him in my pocket. He's a wonderful human being. And he mentioned that he would really like some wool socks. My sisters and him are all postal carriers. And so they walk in the snow like 10 to 12 miles a day. And so, so he expressed that my other sisters had wool socks and he would like some wool socks. And I said, how many pairs would you like? And he said thousands. So I know I can always have socks on the needles for him. So I went to Simply Socks Yarn Company and I have already knit him 2 pairs during the pandemic, but I started another pair for him that I'll give him for Christmas. So this yarn comes in a 100-gram ball. And what you do is you cut off the brightly colored starter yarn and then you knit the sock. And if you knit toe up, you work from the outside. If you knit cuff down, you work from the middle. And so it comes with the cuff here and then this part. And then when you get to the color of the cuff again, then you knit the heel. And I did a fish lips kiss heel again. And then you just keep going. And then it will make it, the color will change again for the toe. And then when you're done, you just wrap up the leftover gray yarn and then you start again from the yellow. And then when you're done, you have 2 perfectly matched pairs of socks with heels, toes, and cuffs and only 2 ends to weave in. So I have never used this yarn before. I have used Regia yarn before. I've used their 4-ply and I love their 4-ply. And so, but I've never used the Pair-fect before and I'm super excited about it. I think he's going to love it. I feel like this looks very like snowboarder kind of style. I don't know. I'm really loving it though. I think he's gonna love it too. And so that's as far as I've gotten on the first sock. This is the one that comes with me in the car, or if I'm in like a training for my internship or things like that. My computer keeps turning itself off, so I just want to make sure I don't lose you. But yep, so that's kind of my on the go knitting right now. And then I started another pair of indie dyed socks for myself. This is a very special skein to me. I used to have a podcast called Tightly Spun, and where it was an audio podcast, and I interviewed just regular fiber artists about their stories. And one of them I spoke to was a wonderful man named Will, who was just looking at me. He had just started exploring yarn dyeing and was thinking maybe he might want to be a yarn dyer someday. And so I followed him and we kept in touch afterward. And then when he opened a shop, I bought yarn from him right away. And so this yarn is from his very first update, and it's Spargur. It's Spargur yarn, I believe is what the name is. Oh, I have it right here. Nope, that's the wrong one, because I believe it's Spargur yarn now, because it used to be the budget knitter. So this was his very first update. This color is called Desert Sunrise, and I really liked it when it came in the skein, and then when I caked it up, I kind of lost my mind because it's so beautiful. And then I started knitting it up, and I could not believe how gorgeous this is. This to me says fall, and I'm one of those people that when it's October, November, I want fall. I'm not ready for Christmas yet. And so this to me said fall, and it hit the jackpot with the mood I was in. I wanted apple cider donuts, and I wanted hot tea and everything, and this just hit the nail on the head. So I just started this a couple days ago. So this is the yarn that lives in my craft room while I'm in class, while I'm listening to lectures, while I'm watching training videos, things like that. And so this is the yarn that lives next to my computer, and I can just sit here and work on it, and it's absolutely beautiful. I'm super excited that I have this pair of socks going, and this gets to be for me. So that's that pair of socks. And then I have one project that I was going to start as soon as I was done with podcasting last time. So I went ahead and started it, and I've made a lot of progress on it. So this is the On the Spice Market shawl by Melanie Berg. Let's see if I can get it out of here. It's all tangled. There we go. I don't have it in a big enough bag, but this is the On the Spice Market shawl by Melanie Berg. And I have been dying to make this project for years. And I had these mini skeins, so not this one. This is leftover yarn that I had, but I had this green, dark gray, light gray, mauve, and then dark mauve. I don't know what this is called. I have had these mini skeins sitting in a bag for years. I bought them. They're from Nerdstring, and I bought them at the Knit Nosh event that I attended a few years ago, that Becky puts on from the, I don't know, from the Knit Actually podcast. So she used to do this really awesome event called Knit Nosh, and I bought the mini skeins there, and I could not figure out what to make with them. I have been toying around with the idea of On the Spice Market for a long time, but the yardage requirements require more than 20 gram skeins for at least 2 of the colors. And it required 6 colors instead of 5, and I only had 5. And so I had this dark green separated with it for a long time, and I thought about using this as the main color and then doing the other 5 colors. And as I was nearing the end, or no, I wasn't done with the hue shift, but I was really, really, really wanting to cast on a new project. I had just finished my butterfly sweater, and I'm trying to finish a few things as I start other stuff. And I pulled it out, and I was looking at it and looking at it and looking at it, and I had a day where I just went through my yarn, and I have a dresser that's what holds most of my yarn stash, and I was going through it, and I just couldn't figure out what I was going to do. And then I was sitting down working on homework, and it hit me that I had this beautiful skein from Suburban Stitcher from her Advent set that I bought 2 years ago. So this was a color that she did called Jelly of the Month Club. And it was the big skein in her Advent that she did. I think it was her first year that she did Advents. And it's like this creamy color with tons of speckles of like purples and mauves and reds and greens and things like that. A little bit of blue here and there. It's gorgeous. And I thought about it and I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I needed. I needed to let myself have more of a speckle for the main color. And so I feel like it matched perfectly. And so now I was able to do my my mini skeins, and I could use that leftover green and have all 6 colors, and then the Jelly of the Month Club for the main color. And I am done with these little dot things. These were not fun to knit. I'll tell you what, that was less than enjoyable. But we made it through, and I thoroughly enjoyed the garter stitch part of it, and I am finished with all the dots. And so now we're back to big solid stripes at the end, and they'll work from the dark green down into the other colors. So I don't think I'll have enough to do the number of repeats that each one of the colors calls for, but I don't really care. I'm just going to knit until I run out of yarn for each one of them, and then it's all going to work out fine. Nobody's policing my knitting at this point. So that is that shawl. I also figured out I have not knit a shawl for myself in like 3 years. So that's exciting to me because I'm definitely going to keep this. So that's all the projects I have going right now, but I did pull one other project out that I will be working on very soon because Suburban Stitcher Diane is doing a Fin Swaymo. So normally we do National Knit a Sweater in a month, where you cast on a sweater on November 1st and you have a month to knit it. And I've done that a few times, but she looked at her stash and her projects and realized she had several sweaters going. And so she wanted to try and spend the month of November finishing her sweaters. And so she issued this challenge to try and finish her sweaters this month. And so I have one sweater that is going that I'm very excited about. I have not actually pulled it out of the bag and looked at it recently, but this pattern, this is the sweater I have going right now. So this is called All of the Lights, and it's by Joji Locatelli. I'll show you the back because this is amazing. And there's this big cable, and then there's this lace, and then there's little complicated cables, and there's like a texture section right here, and then this texture goes down the sleeves. It has saddle shoulders on the top. It's been a while since I've done a saddle shoulder. So you do the saddle shoulders right here, and you pick up and knit down. And this yarn, oh, I should tell you about the yarn. So the yarn is Lavender Loon on her DK base, which has cashmere in it. Here you go, Justin. You get a cashmere hug today. So this yarn is from Lavender Loon. It's on her DK base, which has cashmere in it. It is amazing. And I believe that the colorway is called Polar or Francis. Let me check. It's called Francis. And so I knit this. I had 5 skeins. I did not check the pattern or believe the yarn requirements. It said I needed 7. So I had to buy some more. So Sam was super great, and she used the photos that I sent her to try and match my other skeins so that I can do the sleeves. I did not alternate skeins because I don't care. I just, sometimes I do, and on this project it was too big of a project to deal with it, and so I did as I was transitioning, like here and here, and you can tell, but I don't really care. Because I think it's beautiful, and I love the cables in it, and I feel like it's great. It's wonderful already as it is. This looks really dumb with my sleeves like this. So I have 3 more skeins left to do the sleeves. So I'm going to challenge myself to see if I can finish the sleeves during the month of November, but we'll see. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. But I am trying to challenge myself to finish some projects as I start other projects. So I want to finish this, and I just finished the hue shift, and I just finished my butterfly sweater, and those were all pretty epic. And what I'm planning on doing is I will finish this. And then right after that, I have Christmas stockings that I would like to finish knitting. I have to knit like a third of one for my husband, and then I have to knit not mine. And then I have to do the finish work on all of them. I don't think I've woven in the ends on any of them, and I need to put the names on all of them, and then they're done. So that's kind of my goal right now and my plan for the future. But I hope that you are doing well. I hope you are enjoying your knitting. I hope you are taking some time, no matter what is going on in life for you right now, that you are taking some time for self-care. We tend to think that if we are not actively involved in everything that's happening all the time, that we are not good enough. And I just want you to know that that's not true. And if you are operating at very little capacity because you have not taken time to rest whenever you can, it's not going to be a good thing, and it's not going to be very helpful. So if you want to help people, make sure that you go take some time to rest for yourself and get some rejuvenation. And I would encourage you to do that today. So I am going to go sit and knit for a little bit and see what happens this weekend. So have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. Like I said, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Butterfly EM4, and I'll talk to you soon.